In a developing story tonight, Fort Smith police looking for the driver involved in a hit and run that injured a school teacher. It happened at Bonneville Elementary School on South Waldron Road. Now, the district says the teacher suffered minor injuries. Police say the teacher was hit while in the crosswalk. No students were hurt. We have not been given a vehicle description just yet, but police are asking if you have any information about them to give them a call. Arkansas's governor and Secretary of State facing new legal action over the timeline for a special election in Senate District 26. That seat left vacant after the death of Senator Gary Stubblefield. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer spoke with the man behind the lawsuit, joins us now in the studio with why he filed this suit. Lauren?
Yeah, Franklin County resident Colt Shelby says he's fighting for fair representation. With the current date for the special election set for next June 9th, Shelby says that violates state law and leaves the district voiceless for upcoming important decisions.
We had 85,000 people counting on one person to represent them, and we lost that.
A lawsuit filed Monday names Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Secretary of State Cole Jester, challenging the timeline to fill the District 26 Senate seat. The primary set for March 3rd, with the special election scheduled for June 9th. The governor originally set the election for November 2026, saying it would save money and streamline the process, but community feedback ultimately led to the change.
She did not back that date up because of the pushback. If she did that for the pushback from the people, she would have accepted the pushback from the prison.
The lawsuit says this leaves District 26 without any representation during the upcoming budget session.
We've got to have somebody advocating. If nobody is coming in and going to bat for us, then our voices will not be heard.
And argues that waiting more than a year breaks state law, which says special elections should happen as soon as possible and no later than 150 days after the seat becomes vacant. In a statement to 5 News, the governor's office said, quote, following conversations with election officials, the governor decided that holding the primary for District 26 on the statewide primary date and holding the special election on the soonest possible date afterward saves taxpayer dollars and ensures the election is free, fair, and secure.
I'm not going to bow down to anybody. This is where I live. This is my right to vote, and I need somebody in there to help support us.
All right, so now that this has been done, what's next?
Yeah, the court will decide whether that election date violates state law and whether voters in District 26 will head to the polls sooner. In the lawsuit, Shelby's asking a judge to move up the special election date to December 9th, which is within 150 days of the vacancy.
Very interesting to see how this shapes out.
Yes,
all right,
we'll
Lauren,
see.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Well, the shutdown of the federal government has entered a second week. Republicans in the Senate once again failing to get enough support from Democrat senators to send a spending bill to the president. Erica Brown in Washington now with the latest on talks to end this shutdown.
As the deadlock on Capitol Hill continued Monday, President Trump claimed talks were underway with Democrats on health care, the key issue at the center of the standoff over federal funding.
We are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care. And we can have a much better health care than we have right now, and we're talking to them.
But as of late Monday, Democratic leaders in Congress said they've heard nothing from the White House.
I do not know of any Democrats who have spoken to President Trump or members of his administration on this issue of reopening the government, enacting a bipartisan spending agreement, and addressing the Republican health care crisis.
The Senate reconvened to vote on Republican and Democratic measures to reopen the government Monday, but both proposals failed to advance. Democrats are holding out to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits expiring this year and roll back Medicaid cuts, but Republicans argue the shutdown needs to end first.
The White House has threatened widespread firings of federal workers if the shutdown continues, and hundreds of thousands of government employees remained furloughed during the standoff, with some essential workers like military personnel working without pay.
If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck.
The shutdown could also impact the travel sector, with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warning air service to some small communities could be impacted. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the president spoke today from the Oval Office about ongoing talks for a ceasefire in Gaza. The new deal under discussion includes an exchange of hostages and the creation of a transitional government in Gaza. Today, the president pledged that many nations are working to finalize the deal quickly, said Hamas has already agreed to important terms.
We have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done, something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it in certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. They all came together. No, Israel's been great. I think we're doing very well, and I think Hamas has been agreeing to things that are very important.
Tomorrow marks 2 years since the October 7th attack on Israel. More than 1,200 civilians were killed and hundreds taken hostage. The attack sparked a war that has claimed tens of thousands of lives in Gaza, displaced millions, and left infrastructure in ruins over the last 2 years. The talks between Israel and Hamas to end the war are happening indirectly in Egypt with support from U.S. diplomats. We now know the identity of the camper that was killed in a suspected bear attack in North Arkansas. The Newton County Sheriff's Office identifying the person who died as 60-year-old Max Thomas from Springfield, Missouri. It happened last week at Sam's Throne Campground in Newton County in north central Arkansas. Thomas was found dead Thursday night after his family requested a welfare check. Authorities say they found signs of a struggle and drag marks that led away from that campsite. Authorities closed the campsite as they worked to find this bear. 2 days later, a game camera captured this video of a bear in the same area. Investigators say the video helped them track down the animal they believe was responsible for the attack.
It's real unusual for bears to come into areas where people are anyway. Our thought process was that this bear had probably had a few meals, in that campground, possibly just people leaving scraps. We had seen some paw prints in the camp area where we put this camera and a bear trap, and we were lucky enough last night to get a shot of it.
Bear's body is now in Little Rock for a necropsy and DNA testing. Game and Fish hopes to have results by next week. This comes less than a month after another deadly bear attack in Franklin County, the first one recorded in Arkansas since 1892. Game and Fish telling us they're looking into whether disease or any other factors could be affecting bears in this area.